Today we are looking at true bearings, and we're going to be using this idea of true bearings with trigonometry. But first we need to be able to identify what the true bearing is. So our true bearings are working from north. Notice that they use the word from, meaning that's your starting point. And you go in a clockwise direction. Okay, so when we talk about a clockwise direction, that means we're going that way around. Okay. They're also regularly called whole circle bearings. So bearings starting from north, so there's that word start from north, is 0, 0, 0 degrees true. That's what the T stands for, true bearings. And you increase in a clockwise direction, with the largest bearing being possible of the 359 degrees true bearing. Bearings are also shown with 3 digits. So if you have any bearings that are less than 100 degrees, you put a 0 in the front. On our next slide, we're going to look at 2 examples where we can actually see when we give you information on a diagram that you can actually work it out without actually measuring the angles. So you're not going to be using a protractor at all. You're going to use the information given. Now, if we're dealing with this idea of working from north in a clockwise direction, notice here in the black line where you've got the 48 degrees measured there. You do know, however, that angle between north and east is 90 degrees. So therefore you would add your 90 and your 48 degrees, which ends up being an answer of 138 degrees true bearing. So you're working in that clockwise direction from north until you hit that line where our line for you is. So if you were telling someone to turn themselves 138 degrees true bearing, they would use their north part of their compass and turn themselves to face in that direction. That allows them to walk in that direction. We often use these bearings, obviously, when you're out hiking, or if you're out on the ocean and you need to turn your ship to face a particular way. So when we're using trigonometry to help us with this, we actually have to create a diagram to use the true bearing to help us actually find what the question's asking us to do. Same idea, you can use subtraction to help you find out the true bearing. So once again, we're using our knowledge. We've got a 90 degree there, we've got a 90 degree there, and we've got a 90 degree there. So that all gives us a total of 270 degrees. But we only want to go until we hit our T line up here. So there's a 33 degree gap there that we need to subtract away from the 270 degrees. So therefore the true bearing from north to T would be 237 degrees true bearing. So remember, you're going from north until you hit that line where you want to be in that particular position. So let's go ahead and actually do some questions together. So we've given you here a diagram which has a number of lines on it, as well as you've got your compass bearings, so your north, east, south and west. And I want you to find line AO. So we're starting off with this first one, line AO. And remember, you're always going from north. So if I'm going from north to my A, that's where I'm going, and they've told me that particular spot is 67 degrees. So if we're doing true bearings, remember we need 3 digits. So it's going to be 0, 6, 7 degrees true bearing. We are then asked to go from to OB, which is now going all the way around until there. What we can see is this part here is 180 degrees. And then we've got this little bit, which is the 24. So we've got 180 plus our 24, which allows us to get an answer of 204 degrees true bearing. We're then asked to find up to line OC. So that means we're going all the way around to there. So this means we've gone all the way there. So we've got our 270 degrees plus another 36 degrees to get us to that line C, because we're all going from north. So that ends up getting us an answer of 306 degrees true bearing. And lastly, we want to go to line OD. So this is then from here to here. So using our knowledge again, we've got this 90-degree angle here, plus that 58 degrees to get to line D. So we've got our 90 plus the 58, which gets me 148 degrees true bearing. I would like for you now to have a go at some questions on your own. So I'm going to put up the next screen, which I would like for you to pause so that you don't see the answers, and I would like for you to have a go at finding those true bearings on your own. Here you go. Have a go at this one. Pause the video and see if you can get them right. When you're ready to check your answers, press play. For my first line, I want to find from north to line C, which is just this little bit here. Now I've got no information there, but what I do have is I've got this information here where I can use my 90 degrees and I can actually subtract 67 degrees away from that, which will allow me to get my answer to be 23 degrees. So to write it in bearings, 0, 2, 3, my little degrees, that's my unit, and my T to indicate that it's true bearings. Give yourself a tick if you got that one right. My next one is to find line OD. So I'm going from north all the way around to here. So I'm going to use addition for this because we're going to use the information from here to know that that's 270 degrees. So we've got 270 degrees plus that little bit extra there, which we've been told is 42 degrees. And that allows us to get an answer of 312 degrees true bearing. Gives yourself a tick if you got that one right. My next question is to find line OB. So from north, I'm going all the way to line OB. For this one, I think I'm going to be using subtraction for this. I'm going to use subtraction from 270 degrees. So I've got 270 degrees that goes all the way around, but then I've got this 53 degrees that I need to subtract away from the 270, which will get me to line OB. So when you do that subtraction, you then end up with an answer of 217 degrees true bearing. Hopefully you got this one right as well. For the very final question, I want to find line AO. This one's going from north to A, and that ends up there. Now as we can see, yes, we're missing a little bit there between my N and my C, but we don't need to worry about that because we know that whole angle adds up to 90 degrees. So I'm going to go 90 degrees plus that 38 degrees, and that leaves me with an answer of 128 degrees true bearing. Hopefully you got all four right, and therefore you are all on top of your true bearings. This now allows you to work with trigonometry and your true bearings in a question. All the very best.